some of the things that drive the amygdala and get the amygdala talking are not as linear or tangible as an event like we're talking about, like a abuse event. Sometimes we have a nervous system that's just been trained to be hyperactive and always be looking for the next stressor because we've had a lot of stressors. And what I've found about the amygdala is that once you're locked in that amygdala, you start thinking, like, the amygdala is trying to keep you safe all the time. It's scanning. So now it's like, you're not safe because of this. You're not safe because now you're operating from that place and you don't even know how you got there.
You can. When somebody says, I don't know how I got
Okay.
there, it means they're not really taking an inventory of what step-by-step process compounded it. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have an
Okay.
event in your life and your father and mother were fighting in the living room, and you're a 3-year-old or 2-year-old. No, you're a 2-year-old kid, not even 2-year-old, and you are frightened and they're screaming and yelling and stuff. And you crawl off to your room and hide under the bed and cover your ears and your eyes and put a pillow around you and suck your thumb and you hide under the bed. And you heard them and you saw them and you ran away. And now all you had is feeling, because you didn't want to see and you didn't want to hear it. So you went down and just felt it and curl up in the fetal position. You fall asleep as an avoidance response. The parents then stop and they go to bed. And the next morning, dad's at work. Mom takes you to the grocery store and you're going down an aisle, sitting in a little basket. Your mom's pushing you away. You're facing your mom. And all of a sudden, your mom's looking at items to buy. And there's a guy coming down the aisle towards her that had the same blue jeans that your father had on and the same white type of shirt that your father had on, and had a brown hair and a brown beard, just like the father. And you have associations of those without even realizing it in the brain. And so now you go, oh my God, somebody's approaching mommy. And you'll do one of two things. You'll either get behind mommy and try to pull mommy away and make a scene to try to distract her, or you'll get in front of mommy and try to defend it, a fight or flight response. And you'll start making a scene. And then the guy will walk by and then you'll calm down and you went into a reaction temporarily because of those associations. Then you go around the next turn in the grocery store and now you see a guy with blue jeans, yellow shirt, brown hair, and brown mustache. So now your brain associates white shirt or yellow shirt, blue jeans. And then you didn't even know why, but now that's associated in your brain. So now you don't quite trust white shirt, blue jean, brown haired guys because they might attack mommy, or you might be going into fight or flight mode. And now you go down the next aisle. Now you see a guy with blonde hair, blonde mustache, white shirt, blue jeans. So after a while, you make secondary and tertiary and compounding of these associations. And now 50 things set off an anxiety response. Anxiety is a compounded secondary, tertiary, quaternary compounded association from a primary event that you chose to see a negative without a positive. And you chose to have perception of avoidance and instinct to avoid. If I go in there to that original event and I make new associations and change that whole system, that whole cascade disappears and the anxiety responses. So you don't want to just say, well, I don't know why I'm anxious. You want to narrow it down because you cannot have a feeling in the brain without content in the mind. And that content is very specific. And when people say, I don't know why I'm frightened. I don't know why I'm anxious. Stop that language. Hold yourself accountable. Close your eyes. Are you feeling anxious? Yes. What's the content of your mind? Yes, I'm afraid of this. You can't have a feeling of fear without content in the mind. So if I go and I isolate that and get specific instead of broad, vague generalities, I'm feeling anxious, I can take that and we can now work with that and we can neutralize that by asking different questions and making them aware of things that they oversighted. Because in that moment, there was another side that we chose not to see. We've all had events in our life that we thought were terrible. And then a day, a week, a month, a year, 5 years later, we go, wow, thank God that occurred. But we didn't take the time to have the wisdom of the ages without the aging process. And we can look right there in that moment and find the other side. That's what I do in the breakthrough experience. I show people how to transform the so-called baggage that they think they've been through and turn it into fuel of opportunity. And then it's no longer running life. The amygdala comes offline and the executive center comes back online.
So what if you're not aware of what that first event was? So let's use the example of the arguing parents. Let's say you grew up in a household where the parents were constantly arguing. And so you were told to be quiet. You couldn't express any emotion or react to the arguing that was going on. So now you go into a place of stress in the amygdala, you're activating the amygdala. Now the rest of your life, anytime people are arguing, anytime anger shows up, you're now associate that with a bad thing, but you don't realize that. You move away from conflict continuously.